Hey guys, Nick here. Welcome to the Omniverse of Nick's first WWE exclusive story besides the Walking Dead Roman Reigns story, but this is exclusively WWE. We're finally getting into true WWE what ifs and not crossovers, but don't worry, there's still plenty of crossovers. But now we're WWE exclusive. What if John Cena stayed in WWE? Now, before we get started, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the Omniverse of Nick, and check out the About tab and homepage so you don't miss anything past, present, and future the Omniverse has to offer. With all that said, let's begin. So, if you guys do not know, in 2017, after the match with Miz and Maurice, with John Cena and Nikki Bella, John Cena basically went full-time Hollywood. Now, just because of that, he would still show up. He would still be part of WWE. But the full-time WWE John Cena after that match at WrestleMania 2017 would die forever. But John Cena would never leave the business until, even after all appearances, SummerSlam, Summer of Cena, WrestleManias, Bray Wyatt, etc., etc., he would still show up to the business. But in 2024, Money in the Bank, John Cena would announce his retirement and the tour that he would run in 2025. So, on the debut of Netflix 2025, John Cena would fully confirm and just overall put into play his retirement tour. 36 dates, which the original plan was 200, but it was put down to 36. So, after that, Cena would debut in his last Royal Rumble, coming in second place. He would win his final Elimination Chamber match, also turning heel against Cody Rhodes for the Undisputed Championship to get 17, teaming with The Rock and Travis Scott in one of the most, if not the most, shocking television moment, especially for WWE, that the world had ever seen. He would win thanks to only Travis Scott in a very kind of debatable good moment. But he would still break the record of Ric Flair, no longer tying him, and becoming the greatest of all time, aside from Roman Reigns, and become the never seen 17. He would have his final match at Backlash against Randy Orton for the title. He would have his pretty much final match against R-Truth as Ron Cena to try to get him back to normal. And he would feud with Cody Rhodes almost the entire time he was heel. First at WrestleMania, where Travis Scott interfered to help him become 17-time champion. He would feud with him and Jey Uso, teaming with the likes of Logan Paul, and several things that had went down at 2025's Money in the Bank, and would fight him one more time at SummerSlam, turning face again halfway through the year, and Cody getting back the championship. He would team, like I said, with Logan Paul against Cody and Jey Uso, and they would actually form a little team, at least until Money in the Bank. And they would clash themselves at Clash in Paris, where a lot of nostalgic and amazing, move inspiring, and just, it would be a great match, despite it being Logan Paul. R-Truth would have his contract unfortunately expired by the time that him and John Cena would fight at a Saturday night main event before Money in the Bank, but Truth would return as Ron Killings, and he would feud with Cena for a while, being a heel R-Truth as Ron Killings, but would later turn just at SummerSlam. Then Cena would fight Punk one more time besides the Chamber and the Royal Rumble at Night of Champions for the title. Then he would get utterly decimated, completely destroyed, worse than even SummerSlam, all the way back in the 2010 era going onward, against Brock Lesnar, who'd return after SummerSlam's ending to literally just completely destroy John Cena, even after pulling 3 AAs. Then he would fight AJ Styles, and this match would not only be the best match of his retirement tour, but the best match, in my opinion, of 2025. Sister Abigail's, RKO's, Sweet Chin Music's, Scorpion Death Drops, Break the Walls Down, and Cochina Clutches. They would literally Tombstone Pile Drivers, Choke Slams. It would literally be like a WWE 2K game, and it was the probably best match of the entire year. Then John Cena would hold a 16-man tournament to present the ultimate field of opportunity for NXT and WWE stars and to decide his final opponents, with the final two being LA Knight and Gunther, and we all know how it was going to go from there. John Cena would also win the Intercontinental Championship for 2 reigns, pretty much. Not 2 reigns, but, 2 shows, and would finally become a Grand Slam champion. He would put over the entire Judgment Day and Liv Morgan's return in Dominic getting the title back. And then his final match at Saturday night's main event, December 13th, would be against the Ring General Gunther, just like Goldberg and just like AJ Styles. And for the first time since Jericho, Benoit, and Kurt Angle, John Cena would tap out, smiling in the end, knowing that his time was up and that everybody else's time was now. Basically putting over Gunther. And with that, John Cena's illustrious, nostalgic, and the greatest of all time's career would come to a close. But what if it didn't? And now I'm not talking about him staying beyond 2025. Like, he doesn't actually retire. I'm saying, what if John Cena didn't go full-time Hollywood in 2017 and he actually stayed full-time WWE? And, like, he either quit Hollywood or just didn't go there full-time and truly committed to staying in the business that he truly loved. And really, Hollywood would be a back burner thought. That's what we're going to answer. So, after WrestleMania 2017, John Cena and Nikki Bella get engaged, and then they break up. John Cena then returns on SmackDown a week later, and in a very, very epic way. And he is very happy to be back, even though it's only been a week. He announces to the fans that he's had a lot of time to think. Between Nikki Bella, the fans, and Hollywood, John Cena has noticed something. The fans are always going to be divisive or decisive about him, and he has come to realize that him staying away from the business, it's not right. It's never sat right with John Cena. And the noise and the people, that's what John Cena is around for. True, movies and commercials and the Teen Choice and the Today Show and Kids' Choice Awards, it's all been great for John Cena and elevated him to a great level. But nothing, and he means nothing, has ever elevated him more than the business that he started in and that he became a part of. So, John Cena has made a decision. He says, screw Hollywood. And he is officially quitting Hollywood and getting back to the business that made him who he is. As for Hollywood, they can't see him anymore. He is back in WWE to stay. And there's no better way to declare that than in entering the 2017 Money in the Bank. Kevin Owens then interrupts him and says, "Do you really think that after coming back full-time to WWE, we're all just gonna like you and accept you just like we did before? You seem to realize that just because you're coming back, people hated you even when you were full-time. And I was one of them. So, you are not entering the Money in the Bank match because I will be entering in the men's Money in the Bank match. So, even if you're able to get in the match, you're still going to have to go through me. And this time, unlike your little US title, this ain't going to be easy for you, John." And the two square off in a very heated exchange, and Kevin Owens drops John Cena after an attempted AA. So, we get to the men's Money in the Bank. Styles, Corbin, Kevin Owens, Dolph Ziggler, Sami Zayn, and Shinsuke Nakamura. But who does John Cena replace? Well, in the last qualifying match for men's Money in the Bank, John Cena and Sami Zayn square off for the first time since John Cena's US Open Challenge. And John Cena almost gets beaten by a Helluva Kick and a Blue Thunder Bomb because Sami Zayn is way more determined this time than he was when he fought for the US title, which is surprising if you really think about it. But with strength, resolve, and everything beyond John Cena has ever shown, showing that he's truly back, he's able to beat Sami Zayn, but still puts him over just to show how much of a great WWE superstar he is. But unfortunately, Sami Zayn is not going to be in the match, and John Cena takes his place. So when the men's Money in the Bank begins, a lot, and I mean a lot of the same exchanges go exactly the same. Except Shinsuke doesn't get knocked out for a great portion of the match, and him and John Cena actually square off. But even though Shinsuke is a tough opponent for him, John Cena is desperate to show how much he is back and cares for the business, and how much the hustle, loyalty, and respect, you can't see me mantra, has never left. He is proving to the entire WWE universe that he is here to stay. And he manages to get Shinsuke off guard and put him down. AJ and Shinsuke later in the match face off. Corbin knocks them both down and goes for the Money in the Bank briefcase. But just before Baron can latch it off, John Cena AAs Baron Corbin off of the ladder, showing a very reminiscent moment to when he did it to Edge all those years ago. And with this, John Cena wins the Money in the Bank briefcase for the second time in his career. And he says this time over the mic, just like he made a promo on the mic after winning the IC title in Canon, that this time he will successfully cash in. And he will become a champion again. And with this, the Great Balls of Fire 2017 commences, with John Cena in full-time WWE and no more Hollywood, and truly proving his worth by winning the Money in the Bank briefcase. Will he actually successfully cash in? Or is this new resolve and getting back into WWE a hoax for what John Cena is truly about to go through? Find out next time. Hey guys, Nick here. Welcome to the Omniverse of Nick's next WWE tale. First story, besides the Walking Dead crossover Roman Reigns, what if John Cena stayed in WWE full-time and did not go full-time Hollywood in 2017. Before we get started, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the Omniverse of Nick, and check out the About Heaven homepage so you don't miss anything the past, present, and future of the Omniverse has to offer. With all that said, let's begin. So, we are in part 2, and we open up where we ended off last time. Great Balls of Fire 2017. Miz and Dean Ambrose are fighting for the Intercontinental Championship. And John Cena, immediately after the Money in the Bank PLE, going on to Great Balls of Fire, goes to cash in his Money in the Bank contract. And just whenever Miz is going for the pin on Dean Ambrose, John Cena comes in for a skull-crushing finale on Miz doing his own move against him. Then the Miztourage comes in, but John Cena double AAs them in a feat of strength very much so barely seen from John Cena, only at periods of time. It hasn't been seen from him in quite a long time. Then Maurice tries to interfere, but she ends up inadvertently shoved out to a table at the end of the ring. Then John Cena and Dean Ambrose lock up, and it seems like Dean Ambrose is actually going to stop Cena, but Cena manages to overtake him because of how much Miz wore him down. And then John Cena dodges an attack from The Miz, landing Dean Ambrose at the far end of the ring, worn out and completely just exhausted. Then John Cena pulls out another double AA, then goes for a 5-knuckle shuffle and one final AA, and goes to Miz for an STF. And he does not let go. He does not allow Miz a second to move or do anything, not even to get to the end of the ring to do the break on the rope. So, with that said, Miz taps out to the STF, and John Cena's cash-in is successful, giving him the Intercontinental Championship and making him a Grand Slam champion 8 years early. And John Cena and Miz, much time after on Raws and SmackDowns, Miz confronts him furious that he was dethroned. And John Cena said, "Your time is up. My time is now. I failed once, Miz, with Money in the Bank. I wasn't going to fail twice." Then John Cena and Dean Ambrose have multiple promos, confrontations, and a challenge to a fight for the Intercontinental Belt, just the two of them, but Dean Ambrose loses. Then John Cena and Rusev have the same flag fight that they did in 2017 at Battleground, but it's for the Intercontinental Championship and not just a flag match. Either that or the flag match would just be just a title match for Rusev challenging for the Intercontinental Belt. But Cena manages to beat him. And then Cena eventually does give Dean Ambrose one or two more shots at the title, since of how desperate Dean seems to be. But Dean is not any kind of threat to John Cena, because he's beaten him before, and it would almost be no different now. John Cena in this story is far more determined, resolved, and stronger than any other John Cena, showing how much he's truly back in the WWE after WrestleMania. So he retains the WWE Intercontinental title until SummerSlam. Baron Corbin, who was a centimeter from getting the Money in the Bank contract, and Miz, who has yet to re-challenge John Cena for the Intercontinental belt that he took from him. So at SummerSlam, the stage is set. John Cena, Miz, and Baron Corbin at SummerSlam for the Intercontinental belt. Who will take home the gold? With John Cena so more determined, so far much stronger, and these far little differences, meaning how much John Cena is truly back in the business and truly showing his resolve, Will Miz get his title back? Will Baron Corbin get one of the titles he was eluded from, and pretty much one of the only titles like he would ever really win, considering he only won King of the Ring and like one other title. So will Baron Corbin win the title he's never won? Will John Cena retain, or will Miz get back the title he made almost the most prestigious out of almost all of the roster? Find out next time. Hey guys, Nick here. Welcome to the Omniverse of Nick's next WWE tale and first WWE story. What if John Cena stayed in WWE full time? Part 4. Before we get into it, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the Omniverse of Nick, and check out the About tab and homepage so you don't miss anything the Omniverse has to offer for past, present, and future. With all that said, let's begin. We open up where we ended off last time. John Cena, Baron Corbin, and The Miz for the IC title at SummerSlam. Now, the fight begins. Miz instantly goes for John Cena. He is infuriated at the fact of losing his title to John Cena's cash in. But Baron Corbin is even more infuriated that his Money in the Bank contract wouldn't have even gotten into the hands of John Cena if it weren't for him almost getting a second away from pulling it before Cena AA'd him off a ladder. So he throws away Miz like he's trash, and then he ruthlessly attacks Cena. So much so that it's like almost, if this was a singles bout, he would have gotten disqualified by this point. And then he chokeslams him and repeatedly just dominates thoroughly and completely. But Miz doesn't let it slide for long, and soon, with a yes kicks and just his strength in general, he begins to fight back on Baron Corbin, and then also gets on John Cena. Then he goes for a skull-crushing finale, but John Cena reverses it into an AA. Then Baron Corbin grabs John Cena with an end of days, but Cena kicks out. Then he just continues to torture Cena more and more and more. But then Cena comes back with his famous shoulder tackles and the 5-knuckle shuffle, and he delivers it. And he goes for an AA, but Miz counters with a skull-crushing finale before Cena can get the pin, and he tries to pin Cena, but he is very shocked at the fact that Cena kicks out. Then he goes for the figure 4 leg lock, but Corbin jumps back to his fighting senses and chokeslams The Miz. And then he goes for John Cena. But just before Baron Corbin can go for the pin, Cena pulls him in for the STF and he gets it locked in. But Corbin powers through humongously through a lot of struggling, groping, and maneuvering, and hoists Cena up in the air and then delivers an end of days. And with this, Baron Corbin, for the first time in his career, becomes Intercontinental Champion. After that, Miz and Corbin would feud for the Intercontinental Belt, while John Cena picks his opponent in Roman Reigns, the same way that he did in canon. And it is much more heated and much more on John Cena's favor since he has been with the company full-time and never went Hollywood full-time. So Roman Reigns has even less to say to him. And when they get their fight, Cena fights even more. Like, since he's not full-time Hollywood, like I've said repeatedly, especially in that SummerSlam, the Money in the Bank and all that, John Cena is far more durable, stronger, and in to the business. But Roman Reigns is still ahead of Cena in many ways. He still delivers Superman punches and spears, but Cena goes for the STF. Roman Reigns fights back and delivers a Samoan drop to end the fight. And Cena proudly announces Roman Reigns the winner. But it's not like he is, pointing to him because, he's going back to Hollywood and this, that, and the other thing. Afterwards, Cena cuts a promo that just because you won one fight doesn't make you the man. I'm still the man, the greatest of all time. And if you truly want to be the guy, the big dog, you're going to have to do a lot more than beat a guy like John Cena once. And Roman Reigns still tries to, gloat about his victory to The Miz. And they feud for the Intercontinental belt. Because, yes, Miz and Corbin would fight, and Miz would reclaim the Intercontinental belt. So the timeline is lining up perfectly. And basically, Corbin just got it to win it. Then we get Survivor Series, and that goes the exact same. And Shinsuke still wins the Rumble, Roman still wins the Chamber, and Fastlane goes the exact same. But then Cena announces he wants The Undertaker at WrestleMania. And The Undertaker actually comes out a promo away, the Raw before WrestleMania. The Undertaker actually shows up. And with this, the two lock eyes and deliver promos with each other. Undertaker absolutely just astounded at John Cena and what he's become, but also for John Cena calling him out, he tells John, "You're not just fighting the dead man at WrestleMania, John Cena. You're fighting the guy who will make your career rest in peace." And with this, the John Cena and Undertaker fight's about to be a lot more than what it ever was in the canon story. So, with this fight looming, and so much more on the horizon for John Cena, Corbin getting the IC belt for the first time, what other crazy in-store surprises are there for the future of Cena and onward? And what other belts could we see other stars and these two here hold in the near future? Find out next time. Hey guys, Nick here. Welcome to the Omniverse of next WWE tale, story exclusive to the WWE Universe. What if John Cena stayed in WWE full-time? Part 4. Actually, Part 4. I mistranslated and miswrote on last part. It was actually 3, not 4. This is 4. Anyways, before we begin, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the Omniverse of Nick, and check out the About to Heaven homepage so you don't miss anything the past, present, and future of the Omniverse has to offer. With all that said, let's begin. John Cena and The Undertaker face off in an epic promo the Raw before WrestleMania, which would be freaking cinema. And then we get to the fight. Cena kicks out of everything Undertaker originally squashed him in, and then the fight turns to Undertaker just pummeling Cena. So much so, it's almost just like Cena's not even trying to fight back. And then Undertaker drops him with a drop kick, but then Cena goes in for the STF. Undertaker goes in for last ride, or Hell's Gate. I get the two mixed up. He goes in for Hell's Gate and tries to make Cena submit, but Cena gets the bottom rope and forces the break. Undertaker uses his signature stance, but Cena uses the infamous shoulder tackles, the five knuckle shuffle, but just before he can land it, Undertaker choke slams him. But Undertaker is completely dumbfounded. A choke slam, tombstone, and his entire soul, even the Hell's Gate, and another choke slam. And John Cena still won't kick out? Undertaker is just completely beside himself. And then Cena goes for the shoulder tackles again. But this time, after he delivers the five knuckle shuffle and everything, and actually delivers it, he goes for an attitude adjustment, but Undertaker pulses himself back up and uses a last ride, and that finishes the match. So the fight this time is the original time that it would have been had they actually gotten their longer match, pretty much. So in the end, Cena and Taker got the match that they wanted. So yeah. Then Cena and Triple H have their WrestleMania fight, or their Royal Rumble fight, the greatest Royal Rumble, and Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy fight for the United States Championship, except John Cena is in there as a triple threat. And Randy and Jeff are definitely surprised that John Cena wants another shot at the United States title. But it's likely for him to reinstate the United States Open Challenge. But Jeff Hardy and them ain't going down without a fight, especially Randy Orton. Randy Orton pulls off an RKO, and John Cena, with everything he's got, goes for the STF on Jeff Hardy. And the fight pretty much just is an amazing back and forth between the three. But in the end, John Cena does get the United States title. And on the Raw after, the crowd, as well as himself, cannot believe that he has the US title back. And he opens with saying that the John Cena United States Open Challenge was all about opportunity, to give people a chance to step up, to show their skills, and to truly demonstrate the best that WWE has to offer for the chance at a title shot against the greatest of all time, John Cena. So, the John Cena United States Open Challenge is reinstated, and it starts right now. Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy both come out demanding rematches. So a triple threat steel cage match is set on Raw, because it wasn't just going to be another match. No. They're locked in a cage. There's moonsaults, RKOs, punts, attitude adjustments, STFs, five knuckle shuffles, Viper, double drape DDTs, and at this point, everyone's exhausted. John Cena, Randy, and Jeff are all on the ground. Everybody is burnt out. John Cena tries to escape the cage, but Randy Orton gets him as Jeff Hardy climbs up for him, and they both fall, or at least one of them falls, in the form of John Cena. Jeff Hardy basically tries to grab John Cena off of the cage, and he succeeds. Randy Orton manages, just as 2023 did whenever he returned. Whenever John Cena is falling off the cage, Randy Orton delivers a midair from the air RKO from the cage. So, yeah. Jeff Hardy then jumps down and delivers a double drop kick to Randy Orton. But John Cena, resilience, just complete resilience and utter disbelief of both superstars, grabs them both in a double attitude adjustment and retains the United States title. And he says there's been a lot of doubt as to how durable he has been recently. There's been a lot of doubt about how much he can take, about how much he can dish, and about how much he can do for this business. But for one thing is certain, as long as I've got gold in my hand, I've chosen this business ever since I started. And even after I went Hollywood, I still was in this business. Because this is what true opportunity and resolve and determination is all about. This, the WWE, is what is truly meant for John Cena. And if anybody wants a shot at the United States title, well, guess what? The time is now. The John Cena United States Open Challenge starts now. Daniel Bryan comes out, and much of the fight goes in Daniel's favor until John Cena picks up the pace and retains the title. John Cena opens with another promo, telling more people to step up. Samoa Joe comes out and says he's got Cena's number, because the last time they met, Samoa Joe was able to beat him and get him in a clutch. He says he's been thinking about that day ever since. And now he sees no better time than to take John Cena's second chance away and rip that US title out of his hands. And Cena says, I'd like to see you try. But before anybody could do anything, Roman Reigns goes in and Superman punches John Cena. Although it looks like his punch is actually directed at Joe. Because at this time, and just in general, Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe were big rivals. So, yeah, the punch was meant for Joe. But now, Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe and John Cena triple threat on Raw for the United States title. Who will come out of this with the win? Who will become the new United States champion? Will John Cena continue the United States Open Challenge? Even if he loses the title, will he ever get it back if he loses it? And what is in store for the future of John Cena as he propels himself higher and higher than any iteration of him that we have seen? Hey guys, Nick here. Welcome to the Omniverse of Nick's next WWE tale, WWE Universe exclusive and story. What if John Cena stayed in WWE full-time and didn't choose Hollywood? So, we are in part 5, and before we get started, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the Omniverse of Nick, and check out the About 7 homepage so you don't miss anything the past, present, and future of the Omniverse has to offer. With all that said, let's begin. So, we open up where we ended off last time. Roman Reigns, Samoa Joe, and John Cena on Raw for the United States Open Challenge, and it's reinstated. Now, Samoa Joe and Roman Reigns go at it almost instantly because, like I said, they are heated rivals. So they're far more going to be focused on each other than John Cena. So much so that Samoa Joe actually goes in for the clutch and tries to get Roman to pass or tap out. But John Cena is not going to be taken as an afterthought. This is his open challenge. This is for his title. He is not going to be, he's not going to let Samoa Joe and Roman Reigns overshadow him, the greatest of all time. And then he does the infamous shoulder tackles and tries to go for the five knuckle shuffle, but Roman spears him and then instantly goes back on the attack to Samoa Joe. And they just keep going at it. One punch, Superman punch, clutch, spear, shoulder tackle. It's just everything in their arsenal they throw at each other. And soon enough, Roman pulls off a devastating spear to Samoa Joe. But he is very, very surprised, perplexed, and bewildered by the fact that Samoa Joe doesn't get to the 3 count. And he's like, what else can I do? Then tries to pull out one final devastating Samoan drop, but Samoa Joe is able to catch Roman just a second before Roman drops him. Then John Cena just shoves Samoa Joe down and goes for Roman in the STF. But Samoa Joe's like, really? And he just yanks John Cena off of Roman Reigns. And now John Cena is dodging blow after attack, just trying to defend himself. But then John Cena is able to knock down Roman Reigns, who tries a sneak attack. And then, after being able to withstand Samoa Joe, he tries the five knuckle shuffle again, an AA, and he retains the title. Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe continue their rivalry because it's not worth it for the US title at this point. And John Cena comes for another open challenge. And he waits to see who it is. It's Kevin Owens, who said he has a history of challenging for the United States title the last time John Cena did this. And he should have been Mr. Money in the Bank, not John Cena. So, that changes now. That title was once his. It's coming home to him again. And then Kevin Owens begins to get a really good upper hand on John Cena and nearly gets to the 3 count, but John Cena completely just turns the tables, and with a 5 knuckle shuffle and one huge AA, John Cena's the winner, but he does still pay huge dividends and respect to Kevin Owens. And then John Cena gets an opponent he never would have expected. Bobby Lashley, who he had once teamed against but almost never fought. So, fighting him in a United States Open Challenge match? That was not on John Cena's bingo card. But any opponent. So, John Cena and Bobby Lashley go back and forth. But then Bobby Lashley gets John Cena and holsters him up out of the STF. And the last time that this happened, Baron Corbin beat him for the IC title. So, yeah. And then Bobby Lashley spears John Cena and just menacingly attacks him. And he gets to a 2.9. Just a very fraction of a second. But he can't get the 3 count. Bobby Lashley is infuriated at this. But John Cena just gets up and yells in Bobby Lashley's face, "You and everybody else in the WWE forget one thing about me. I'm John Cena, and I live by 3 words. Never give up!" And he gets him in a very huge, devastating AA and just slams him down. And he retains the title. Bobby Lashley is so bewildered and thrown back, he just loses all sense of, getting out of that moment. Because John Cena just completely surprised him. The next Raw, John Cena says, "It's been one heck of a ride." He never would have expected that a second United States Open Challenge would have ever happened, let alone it getting this far. And what staying in WWE has meant to him, winning Money in the Bank, becoming IC champion, and then getting this, it has been one heck of a ride. And he would have never got there without the fans. And he realizes this is one of the most prestigious titles in the entire game. And he wants true competition. His first United States challenge set the opportunity of a lifetime for new, upcoming, and old WWE superstars to take their shot at the greatest of all time. Now he is telling everybody, he does not care who it is, bring John Cena competition. And he doesn't care who it is. And then music starts playing. The crowd starts chanting a familiar name, and a very familiar face walks through the sparks. Bill Goldberg has answered John Cena's United States Open Challenge. So for the US title, John Cena's United States Open Challenge on Raw, it's going to be Goldberg versus John Cena. Who will come out of this? Will this be the end of the second United States title run? Has John Cena finally exhausted everything? Will he meet his match in Goldberg? And how far will Goldberg get with this United States title, considering how far it got him whenever he was in his prime? And what's in store next for John Cena, whether or not he retains this title? Find out next. Hey guys, Nick here, and welcome to the Omniverse of Nick's next WWE tale, story exclusive and to the WWE Universe. What if John Cena stayed in WWE full-time? The penultimate part. So, before we get started, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the Omniverse of Nick, and check the About tab and homepage so you don't miss anything that the future and the past and present of the Omniverse has to offer. Now, with all that said, let's begin. We open up where we ended off last time. Goldberg has entered in John Cena's United States Open Challenge match on Raw. So the match begins. John Cena instantly from the gate tries to go for the shoulder tackles, but Goldberg goes for a spear and gets him. Then he goes for a jackhammer, but right as John Cena is getting pulled up, he holsters himself back and catches Goldberg in an AA, and then in an STF. But Goldberg military presses him, and then spine buster. And then he lays in wait, and he gets him with a spear. One jackhammer, and Goldberg defeats Cena and is the new United States champion. John Cena just sits there, knowing how good his second United States Open Challenge run was nowhere near the first. And after how good he did better than any version of him yet, and he lost. But Goldberg and the crowd rally and just completely support Cena for what he did, for how the US title and what his open challenge meant to the business. And the two shake hands, showing enormous respect for one another. So, yeah, it's honestly a really good moment, especially considering both of these guys are presently retired. So, it's a really good moment for the two. Money in the Bank comes. Goldberg is defending the United States title just openly, just like John Cena was, bringing the open challenge still to fruition. Extreme Rules comes, and his next opponent is Shinsuke Nakamura. But this is where Shinsuke brings out the mist for one of the very few first times here in WWE. He sprays Goldberg with the mist, and with a few moves behind his back, Shinsuke becomes the new US champion and gets locked in the same feud as Canon with Jeff Hardy, who ends up getting the title back at some later venture. Then Goldberg and Cena have promo after promo, respecting and supporting the heck out of each other, especially before and after the US Open challenges, and that they are going to be fighting at SummerSlam. Oh, but it's not going to be any normal match. They had their normal match for the title, and it's not going to be a title match. This is going to be one match that both Goldberg and Cena have never lost in. I quit. So, it's set at SummerSlam. Cena and Goldberg, an I quit match. Goldberg throws spear after spear after spear, jackhammer after jackhammer after jackhammer, spine busters, and just completely rallies into Cena. But John Cena pulls the same cards used against Orton, Batista, Miz, Rusev, every single person that he has fought in I Quit matches. But Goldberg stays in it. Then John Cena throws a playbook out from Goldberg and many, 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 many other wrestlers who the move was inspired from Goldberg onward. He hits Goldberg with his own spear. Then pulls a move from the dead man with a choke slam. Then an RKO from Randy Orton. He even goes from an ankle lock from Kurt Angle. Then he uses an STF to completely finish Goldberg off. After that, the two just completely understand and recognize each other now and can say they're two of not only the best in the business, but they're probably just the best in general. And they both have the complete and total respect for both of them. And that next time a match comes around, they'll be ready for it. Although it will be much different. John Cena teams with Bobby Lashley and has the same promo that he does in 2019. And then that lands him in a very familiar situation with Becky Lynch. Then he has the fight with Drew McIntyre and Finn Balor to decide who's going to fight the Universal Champion. But Finn Balor still gets the win. Then he just lays the smackdown on Elias in his Thugonomics outfit. He roasts the crap out of the Usos, and then he has the same Firefly Funhouse match with Bray Wyatt. And then WrestleMania hits, and John Cena and The Fiend face off. Now, this is a fight that, yes, it did technically happen in the Firefly Funhouse match, but not really. So, we would actually see The Fiend and John Cena full front and center. But here's what I think would happen. Either The Fiend would win, which I feel is like especially important because of how close it would be to, like 2 years going onward from Bray's passing, and the fact that I think the Fiend character would just need that potential. So the Fiend winning almost seems vital. Then John Cena returns at Money in the Bank, Summer of Cena, and says he's challenging Roman Reigns for the undisputed Universal Championship. And they have the same promos and lockdowns that they did in Canon. Roman says, "Really? You're going to be coming back after all these little shifts? You've had a great career, John Cena. 16 championships, multiple United States title runs, open challenges. You even give a guy like Goldberg, who I've beaten, by the way, a chance at your little challenge. You've almost done it all. But I've done something you'll never do. I am the undisputed Universal Champion. I've beaten almost everyone in this business, which almost puts us on the same boat. But you ain't better than me. You think that just because you quit Hollywood all those years ago, that gives you the right to make yourself equal to me? Here's the deal. You think you can beat me 1, 2, 3. SummerSlam, right? Either I'm walking out the Universal Champion or I'm leaving WWE. John Cena says, you just made the biggest mistake of your life. See, you're caught in this egomaniac bubble, and you need to be brought down and brought to truth. I have never left. The reason I quit Hollywood's not because I wanted to be better than anybody, not because I wanted to prove a point. I stayed here and stayed behind because I freaking love this business. You can't say the same. And I bet your little crony back there, Paul Heyman, and your little cousins, they can't defend you either. Which is why all at SummerSlam, if I can't get you with everything that's biting in my bones, Cena, everything that I've got, all it takes is 1, 2, 3. And Roman, he's definitely looking at Cena a lot more cautiously than how he did in canon. The two lock up at SummerSlam, and their fight back and forth goes exactly the same. Back and forth, after back and forth, after back and forth. But it all changes when John Cena delivers what would be his pretty much last gasp and rally, and basically like the last thing before Roman finished him in canon, the Avalanche AA. But when Roman uses Superman punch and tries to lock in a hold, Cena doesn't give. Even spears and just everything Roman's thrown at him. At this point, both of them are on the ground. Roman, he tries to rally and he tries to get Cena. But Cena gets him down after jumping off the rope with a gigantic drop down leg drop. Roman's down. And then John Cena does something Roman never thought he would do. John Cena gets Roman in his own guillotine, laughing about it. Roman can't believe it. He's stuck in his own hold. Roman does the only thing he can. He Samoan drops him as hard as he can. But John Cena kicks out just like he did. 2.999. It's like he's fighting a version of himself. Roman is starting to lock it in his mind, and he's thinking he might actually lose the title. It's all starting to come ahead, and it's like, what can he do? He used his own move against him. And then John Cena, with Roman Reigns distracted, delivers a Superman punch, a 5-knuckle shuffle, and an AA. And with this, he solidifies himself as 17-time champion. The never seen 17. How will the finale next time and Cena's run as the champion go without Roman's historic title reign? Will Cena take that monicum and truly show that for all these years, especially since he stayed behind and never went to Hollywood, he is the face and the greatest of all time in WWE? What will happen to Roman, especially with no solo, no extra bloodline, such a late, poor development in the bloodline? What's going to happen to Roman and, Cody and just everything leading up to future WrestleManias and main events? Now that John Cena might take the monicum of the greatest historic title run that we had ever seen in WWE, and as the never seen 17. Find out in the finale next time, and trust me, it's gonna be Hey guys, Nick here. Welcome to the Omniverse of Nick's next WWE story, universe and story exclusive. What if John Cena stayed in WWE full time? And this is the finale and a big one, just like the Dale one. So pack yourselves in. Before we get started, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the Omniverse of Nick. And check out the About tab and homepage so you don't miss anything past, present, and future for the Omniverse. With all that said, let's begin. We open up where we ended off last time. John Cena is the never seen 17 and has taken Roman Reigns' historic title reign away from him before it even reached 500 days. So he's officially replacing it now because I feel like that's best for what would happen in canon. And I have that what if exclusively separate, which I'll explain more in that one. But Roman Reigns in canon and in the story said he'd leave WWE. Paul tries to stop him, but Roman shoves him away and he just storms off. Paul is now alone, just like he was with Brock. So his aim is pointless. The Usos are aimless now without Roman. John Cena is now the never seen 17. He makes a promo saying he never would have gotten this far if not for the choices that he's made. This championship shows he is going to be a true champion and show the historic title reign that Roman Reigns never did because he was egotistical and needed to be brought down. Him leaving forever, that's his own dumb fault. Same with Paul and the Usos, who knows? But he's going to give everyone the historic title reign that they deserve from the face of the company and the never seen 17. He never would have gotten here if not for staying in WWE and choosing it over Hollywood. He never would have gotten there if not for him always saying never give up. And he for sure would have never gotten here if not for the WWE universe. I've always been divisive on whether they hate or love him, but ever since he stayed in WWE full time, he's seen a much different response and he cannot thank the WWE universe enough. So, for this new historic title reign, if anyone wants some, the face of the company and the never seen 17 and the new champion is giving a new historic title reign to tell him to come get some. And Brock Lesnar, his electricity and just everything lights up all of Raw after SummerSlam. And this is definitely not the opponent everyone thought would be John Cena's first. Brock says, "You said anyone, right, old friend? Well, me and you have unfinished business. And I say there's no better time than now. I still had to finish business with Roman. But since he's not longer here, I challenge you to Extreme Rules for a rematch from what we did last time to truly put you in the ground once and for all." So in Extreme Rules Part 2 that we never got is what John Cena and Brock do. And at first, their match goes almost akin to what it did at WrestlePalooza. But after Brock throws everything at John manages, even through all the millions of F5s, to kick out. John then goes for an ankle lock and an STF together. Then he tries Brock's own Kimura lock against him. And then an AA, but Brock slams him into a table, grabs a chair, and just wails on Cena. Then he shows John that he's the founding father of Suplex City, and he takes John there personally. John tries a 5-knuckle shuffle, but Brock rallies with a clothesline instantly. John then tries a Sister Abigail, but Brock pulls out a spine buster and just goes on the attack. But then, when Brock's least paying attention, John hits the strongest AA he can and retains the title. He then encourages more people to come get some, and Edge returns to WWE, and instead of Roman Reigns, he fights John. And John says they never did get to finish their rivalry, and he says there's no better time than now. And Edge most certainly agrees. And the both of them agree there's no better way to do so than in a steel cage, because that's the one match that they almost never had any matches in. They had Extreme Rules, Last Man's, ladder matches, but they really almost had no steel cage matches, almost ever. So they pull moves out of each other's arsenal. Spears, five knuckle shuffles, AAs, STFs, concertos. But then John goes for an avalanche AA. Then another. And another. And just goes in. And truly, Edge respects John Cena afterwards. And they finally close the book on their rivalry. And then Dolph, before he would get released in 2023, would finish his rivalry with John Cena. Randy Orton, The Miz, R-Truth, Jimmy and Jay, who would still remain in WWE, Solo Sikoa. But a stronger, much more endurant John Cena wouldn't get spiked and beaten so easily, because that match, he lost clean. So this is by no means that John Cena. Heck no. So yeah, Solo's not getting the belt. Then John and AJ closed their book. And they honestly would have the same kind of fielded match, very akin to Crown Jewel. Then John would go head to head with the one member of the Judgment Day that he never fought, Damian Priest. Then he would have one last match with Finn Balor, Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, Logan Paul, Austin Theory, Braun Strowman. Because the last time that these two fought, Braun Strowman destroyed John Cena. And not to say that that wouldn't be the majority of this match, but with a stronger, endurant, and full WWE hard driven, historic, never seen 17 title holding John Cena, Braun is like, it's a 50-50 match, but the match is almost completely in John's favor. So John uses speed, endurance, and strategy over strength to beat Braun Strowman. Because John's mistake last time was thinking he could overpower this giant just because he did it to Big Show and several other giants. So, with that strategy, and with Braun super, super down, he manages to pull out enough strength to AA him the best he can, and by a mere scrape, he retains the title. Bronson Reed tries tsunami after tsunami after tsunami, just like he did to Seth, but John, through mere scrape, but much closer this time, manages to retain, but it's very close. Braun Breaker, Rusev finishes his rivalry with John Cena, Sheamus, Rey Mysterio, Bray Wyatt before he unfortunately would pass away, Jacob Fatu, who would debut a lot sooner, Cody Rhodes, who returned to WWE. And this would be a very good moment. But Cody would say Cody has to finish his story, and he's not going to let John get in the way of that. He's a better champion than Roman ever could be, but Cody's not going to let that get in the way of finishing his story. But then he cries afterwards, and John consoles him whenever he loses. Then Punk returns to WWE and finishes his rivalry with John Cena. And John consoles him too, and would likely get that main event WrestleMania sooner. Kevin Owens would not go back to back to back like he did with Roman and have a much better match against John Cena. So there's not going to be any crazy pile-driven Kevin Owens nonsense. Seth Rollins, Stone Cold Steve Austin's final match would not be against Kevin Owens. I feel it would be against John Cena for the undisputed Universal belt. But obviously John would win because Stone Cold would not win the belt. Like, no. Goldberg would have his final match with John Cena. And this would be perfect because John and Goldberg had very recent history. And it would be perfect also because he had just recently fought Stone Cold, and it would just be best for how this historic new title reign and the face of the company never seen 17, it's building a better historic title reign than Roman Reigns ever did. And it truly shows that this title reign for John Cena is much better, and Goldberg goes out in a much better way. LA Knight, Shinsuke Nakamura, a debuting Penta, Carmelo Hayes, even Dominic would get a chance. And then John would have his strongest opponent, and in canon, his last opponent, Gunther. And he would try, just like canon, to make Cena quit. But this Cena's not gonna go, no. He's not on a retirement tour. He's a freaking having an historic title reign, and he's stronger, more endurance, and he's far more driven. So he's not going to give up. And the only reason that he did in the past to Kurt Angle and one other person 20 plus years ago is because he was at the very beginning of his career. And the reason he gave up in his final match is because that's how he wanted to go out. And it's just, he realized that he was done. And he was basically putting Gunther over as the career killer. But this time, there's no reason to do that. So, John, even though this is his toughest match, Gunther eventually, throughout all the elbows, power bombs, sleeper holds, he begins to lose grip. And John Cena still has plenty of strength. So, he manages to move his way out using all his strength and uses something he almost never has, a code red, then an STF, a break the walls down, and an accolade with one strong last STF forces Gunther to tap out. After this, John realizes throughout everything, before he had the title to having this historic title reign, he has fought literally every single person in the dang business and accomplished everything in his career. So he tells the WWE Universe he can't do anything else. And he shows one last promo, and this is before WrestleMania 40. And he says to the WWE Universe, he's had Money in the Bank successful cash in. He's become Grand Slam, and he's had an historic title reign just like he promised he would, better than Roman Reigns ever did. But there's nothing left for him. There's no one left to fight. And honestly, John just feels that his time is up. So, it's time to go. So, shows one last "you can't see me" in a salute, prepares to put his gear in the ring, but before he can leave, a Brahma Bull and "If You Smell What the Rock Is Cooking" shows, and the final boss shows up, storming to the ring. He's pointing and glaring to the WrestleMania 40 sign and slashes his throat with the People's Championship in hand, showing that at WrestleMania 40, John Cena versus The Rock for the undisputed Universal Belt. Seemingly John Cena's last match, and who knows, The Rock's also. Blow after blow, finisher after finisher, cinematic moment after cinematic moment, stun after stun. They amaze, just arouse, and completely build in the crowd to the fact that we're getting this a third time, and that it could be the end of both the most illustrious careers in all of professional wrestling. Eventually, the match does reach a hold, though. John Cena pulls a "you can't see me," but gets knocked down. And then he manages to get him in an ankle hold, but then he pulls out a spine buster. And he uses Rock's own move, the People's Elbow, and lands it. And then a 5-knuckle shuffle and one final attack, and he's the winner. The Rock cannot believe his eyes. The People's Elbow worked against him. They hug it out, shake one more time, and have one last cinematic moment. And John says, now his time is up. It's time for him to go. But he's not taking the title home with him. It would make him no different than Roman Reigns and no different than Punk and so many others. So he does something that shocks the entire world. He gives the belt to The Rock. And The Rock and the entire world are shocked, bewildered, stunned, and completely thrown aback. And The Rock says, "Why, after everything, would you give the belt to me? Why not keep it or make it vacant for the universe?" And John says, "Because I know what you'll do with it, and I trust you." I realize there's more to the WWE universe than being loved, being hated, fighting for everything, winning it all. I just realize there's more to it now. It's about them. It's about the WWE universe. It's about making moments. It's about building something. And that doesn't happen without each and every one of them. Without them, there's no John Cena, no Rock, and there's no WWE. I didn't think I'd ever get this far. When I stopped Hollywood to choose this full time, and I already became a 16-time champion, I never thought that I would get as far as I have. But I did. I did it all. I fought for it all. I accomplished it all. And I did it. And I know that if there's anyone who will move the future of the business for future generations and move onwards and show hustle, loyalty, and respect, it's you, Rock. Goodbye, old friend. And he prepares to put his gear in the ring and walk away. But The Rock hugs him, and they share one final moment. And The Rock says he never would have gotten where he is if it wasn't for John. Sure, that The Rock chose Hollywood full time, and John is the first one who has been able to turn it off completely, choosing Hollywood, and then just turning it away for WWE full time. So The Rock really knows that he can't just respect John Cena. He loves the frick out of him and can truly say he wouldn't be where he is without John Cena. So he says, "Okay, goodbye, friend, but there's one thing you need to know before you go. I can't accept this. I chose Hollywood full time. We both made our decisions, and I respect and love the frick out of you for it, man. But I can't accept this. I know that I don't got much left in me. And honestly, I thought this would be my last match. So, even though I'm not going to be the one that holds this belt, although I'd love to have that one more title reign, I'm going to give it to someone who I know will do what you wish. Hustle, loyalty, and respect, and the future of this business. And someone who I think should I not only have my final match with, but you should have at least one final interaction with him." And with OTC overhead, Roman Reigns, after 3+ years, returns to WWE. Stares down John Cena one final time, and the two shake hands, truly showing Roman Reigns respects John Cena now. And truly, the title reign that John Cena had, even if it was not even not the 1,316 day, it would come exceedingly close, or it would at least be way, 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 way better, in my opinion. Numbers don't matter. How it does. And it truly shows that Roman Reigns has a way different field on John Cena now. And he can say he respects and loves John Cena too. And The Rock gives Roman Reigns the belt as he prepares to fight Roman Reigns for his final match. And they lock up. Bloodline rules. The Rock versus Roman Reigns for the undisputed Universal belt. Triple H, the entire WWE Universe, and the roster have one final goodbye to John Cena, including Roman Reigns, before he puts his gear in the ring and he says goodbye, going out in a much better and different way than in canon, and truly showing that if John Cena had chosen to stay in WWE full-time, would have been the best decision of his life. And that's where this end of the story I'm about to do comes in. And I just gotta say, thank you, John Cena. It just makes the retirement set in a lot more. Still can't believe it's real. Thank you, John Cena. Thank you for everything that you've done, shown us. Thank you for 20 years of the best that I have ever seen in WWE. Thank you for getting me into the business, man. So, we end another story. The first WWE story, unless you want to count the Walking Dead crossover WWE Roman Reigns story. But this is the first real WWE story, and of course it concerns my hero as well as many others. Also wearing the shirt, thank you, Cena. Just going to show that John Cena retiring is one of the most heartbreaking and beautiful moments in all of professional wrestling and our history. And to see him go is just something that is going to stick in our hearts forever. Not only because many of us think that he could have done so much more, but because of how beautiful his send-off was, even if many others disagree with the outing and how his farewell tour ended. And I think mainly it could have been a lot more beautiful and even 20, 30, 50 times better, as you've seen in the story, if John Cena had chosen, in my opinion, the better of the two, staying with the business and not going full-time Hollywood. But everybody makes their decisions, and John Cena made his. Gotta love him for it. While he was with the business, he gave us some of the most beautiful and amazing moments as a professional wrestler. All the way to getting Grand Slam and 17-time champion, turning heel for the first time, and getting us to really hate it. And just showing us the level that he could do. And yes, he had many of times where he would doubt himself, and that he's so vocal and honest about how we are as fans, and how himself he behaves and acts and fights as a professional wrestler. But in my opinion, there's only one man that can tell everybody, or that someone can say is the best and the face and the top tier superstar in all of WWE and professional wrestling. And his name is John Cena. And like I said, it's been over a month since that day. It's still setting with me, and probably millions, close to billions across the world, how tough it is to lose one of the best, if not the best in the business. But he made his choice. We gotta love him for it. And I bet that all of us will remember the fun, sad, the slow, the stale, and the beautiful, and the ruthless aggression that came with John Cena. Probably the best professional wrestler and the face and ultimate example of what makes WWE WWE. Talk about can't seeing him. I think that we can all say we have truly been able to see you, John Cena. Seen everything that you've brought to the business, and everything you've given to us as examples of what human nature is capable of, just to entertain the fans, and how someone like me can really show how much you influenced not only my life,
but millions and billions across the world. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little emotional here. So thank you, Cena. Just like the shirt and just like everybody across the world. Thank you, Cena, for impacting my life and everybody across the world. Thank you. And with this, the story comes to an end. A beautiful, sad, and getting me all kinds of emotional ending. Probably the most emotional story that I've ever created on this channel, besides the Dale story, if I'm being completely honest. But there's probably going to be lots more, along with the Lightning McQueen one, I'm sorry. Walking Dead. Just there's going to be a lot more coming that are probably going to make me feel the same exact way. But this one hits very close to home because of how much John Cena touched my heart and how I know he touched millions, especially the kids and everybody across the world. Even if some people, there's always going to be people that hate or dislike, and I've met some, but I do say that even if you don't like something or don't like someone or hate someone and you don't like them, I do say that we can all respect John Cena. And I hope that this story, if you haven't gotten into this man from the WWE, has really shown you what he is capable of and what he gave to the business. So, with that said, hope you guys really enjoyed this story, because, like I said, it was, especially whenever I got it at the end, it's just an emotional roller coaster ride. So, I definitely hope that you guys enjoyed it. And, besides one more, what if 9/11 didn't happen? Then we'll be getting on to the next two lists that I have demonstrated. So with all that said, I will see you guys in the next story. And thank you once again to John Cena.